At the exhibitor showcase there, you'll find companies from around the world presenting their newest innovations, plural. If you haven't checked that out yet, I highly recommend it. Plus, with so many exhibitors to explore, don't forget to use refined results to filter by topics that you want to learn about. Next up, it's not often I get to throw to royalty, but this is CES, so anything can happen. Consumer Technology Association's Gary Shapiro and Karen Chupka caught up with Prince Constantine of the Netherlands and special envoy for Tech Leap to talk tech and his efforts to make the Netherlands the ideal home for startups. Take a look.
We are absolutely thrilled to welcome Prince Constantine to CES. Welcome, Your Royal Highness.
Thank you, Gary.
So I get to ask the first question, which is that you started coming to CES back in 2016, and that was right when you took the helm at Startup Delta, which is now called Tech Leap. What made you take that leap of being in charge of Startup Delta, now Tech Leap, and why did you choose on focusing on investing your time with startups versus bigger corporations?
Oh, the last question is easy. Startups are much more exciting than big corporations. Corporations have a lot of process, and startups are very close to their core still, and they want to change things. And I love, people that don't stick to the status quo. So working with startups has been really exciting. But the first question is really, I think all companies will become like startups. If you look at every sector is now being challenged by a startup, be it it could be Netflix in media, in cars it's Neo and Tesla, and even in space, you now have SpaceX. So I think that's where the most dynamic activities are in terms of innovation, in terms of technology application, and in terms of economic development.
So, Prince Constantine, the pandemic has changed everything. You talked about that in November, how it's changed even how startups do business. What do you think the impact of the pandemic has been on the tech industry, and especially the Dutch technology industry and startups?
Well, obviously there's a shakeout, and a number of companies won't make it, but that's actually remarkably low. I think many startups will have to set out and do something 10 times or more better than it's already been done before, and typically will choose to be on a trend. So it's either the energy transition, or it's food transition, or it's the remote working, remote diagnostics, in all kinds of areas, applying technologies like AI in a way that larger corporations may not be doing yet. So in a way, we're seeing a lot of acceleration of these trends, and we're seeing that the companies that are betting on these trends are actually doing pretty well. And we've also seen increases in venture capital funding in Europe as a whole, but in the Netherlands specifically. And so in that sense, it's actually going quite well.
So how will we sustain that growth after the pandemic?
Well, I'd hope that the companies that have been demonstrating real added value will then get even more funding, and will grow up to be new tech leaders, coming out of Europe and everywhere. I mean, I've seen incredible companies like Zoom. For them, it's been a remarkable year, I imagine. But we also have a Russian-Dutch company called Miro, and they do kind of online brainstorming activities, or the Odyssey Momentum hackathon. It's a blockchain hackathon. They created a full immersive environment to do hackathons, and you can basically fly around and meet people and do projects together, all in this immersive virtual environment. And so those companies will, I think, emerge from this as very strong contenders to as next generation companies.
So as I mentioned, that you came to 2016 CES with the first delegation, and I didn't say thank you for doing that, because what we've seen is tremendous growth from Dutch participation at CES, and it also led us to create CES Unveiled Amsterdam, which we were really sorry we didn't get to do in person this year, but we still held a great virtual event, and we're looking forward to coming back to the Netherlands to celebrate all the startups there. So can you tell me a little bit about some of the startups that you brought here to CES 2021? I know it's your biggest delegation. I think it's like 100 companies, and we'd like to hear a little bit about some of those companies and some of the technologies.
Yeah, so one actually that was there last year is Pandora Intelligence, which brings a whole new way of looking at actually solving crimes or doing predictive analytics on, and their initial area was crime actually, but they're now moving into financial predictions and others. It's quite a remarkable company. Will take too long to explain, but sometimes you have these companies that do something in a completely different way. And they're one of them. I think Q-Block is interesting because it's on quantum computing, and as quantum computing is still very much in its early stages, well, I wouldn't say they are quantum computing as a service, but at least they provide elements of quantum computing for the labs that are now being developing quantum computing. They are servicing them in a very professional way. So I always like it when there are entrepreneurs that are right out there in a technology that's really not mature yet, but are already trying to make a business out of it. So that's a company I would look into. But that's obviously very specific for a specific set of interests. But maybe I don't know, Microsoft, IBM, Amazon, they might be interested to visit that company.
Thank you.
Well, you certainly brought a very impressive delegation to CES, and it seems to grow every year. But that's part of a vision you've had. In 2019, you said you wanted to see your country become a unicorn nation. How's that going, and what do you expect for the future?
Well, it's going well. Like we're raising unicorns. We had, I think, 3 last year and counting. And but it's just a metaphor. I don't really think the unicorn is that important per se. What I really meant was, I think nowadays you like to have an economy or a climate for entrepreneurship where companies actually scale internationally and quite rapidly, because competition is very international. So if you don't have the ability to bring technologies to the market fast and actually grow this into companies that service multiple markets, then it's very unlikely that you'll be competitive. So the unicorn nation is more of a metaphor towards it's more about the stables than the unicorns themselves.
And if you had a magic button that you could press and change one thing in your country or in Europe or even in the world that would help innovation and growth, what would it be?
Well, I would restrict it to my country, and then it would be instill a bit of your American think big, dream big mentality. So we tend to hold people on the ground, say keep both your feet on the ground. Your big ideas, yeah, that's fine, but now we get real. And real often means think smaller. And if you're a 17 million market, you have to think big and you have to think global. And sometimes we are still restrained in doing that.
So last January in Las Vegas, you and I met with leaders from Europe and the United States and the government, and we talked about the things we share, the values of Western democracy and our freedoms that we enjoy. Do you think that's a path we share and we'll continue to work on between our countries and our continents?
Well, I truly hope so. And I think as we've been seeing, many of the concerns we're having about the concerns with technology and the impact on our democracies, but also concentrations of power are pretty much the same in the US as in Europe. And I think we have to work together to make technology work for us. And as technology is developing at such an incredible pace, we better work together than to try to find all of our own solutions and then have to work out how we mitigate between solutions. So yes, I do think we have very many common challenges to fight, and with a more assertive Europe in the tech field, because we can't just ignore that the big companies are American, and obviously then there's a discrepancy between the power that you have and influence. But now Europe is kind of growing its own tech companies that will eventually even out, and then I think we should be strong and equal partners to shape this world together.
Well, Karen said it, but I want to repeat it. We look forward to seeing you in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, and we look forward to seeing you in Las Vegas a year from now. Thank you very much, Prince Constantine.
Thank you very much, and it's been a great pleasure to work with CTA and CES, and I really hope that we'll see you in Las Vegas next year.
And another big thanks to Prince Constantine. You know, if I was in the Netherlands and I was a prince, they would call me Prince Constantang. Get it?
Yep, I sure do. Remember, we've got some incredible country delegations that have brought the best and the brightest from their startup community to CES 2021, including the Netherlands. So check those out. Head to Exhibitor Showcase and search startups and the country name. Now, it's that time again. Let's check in with what you've been saying on Twitter. Don't forget to use the hashtag CES 2021 to follow along with us. But I wanted to show off something before we get into some fan tweets. We got Razer here showing off their ergonomic, what looks like an ergonomic gaming immersion chair. They call it the ultimate gaming immersion. You're throwing a weight. So look at that. A 60-inch OLED screen unrolls in front of you.
It retracts and goes over like your face?
Yep, and it just goes around you. I've seen a lot of these prototypes at these types of conventions, but usually they're about 40 grand, so I wonder how much this will go for. It looks like a more compact version, and apparently it's for smaller spaces.
It'll still be 40 grand.
It's still 40 grand, yeah. But I thought that was a cool look at that.
Okay, I'm gonna do one here that maybe appeals to, you know, some of the people that have been paying attention to the coverage here at CES. Chad E. Colby talks about John Deere makes me feel like I'm home on the farm during virtual CES 2021. And this is cool because for those of you that haven't seen it, John Deere, one of the Best of CES Innovation Awards is their X Series, and this is basically like a crop tractor that uses AI and efficiently sweeps through crops, gathers all that up, and it is one of the best of innovations of CES 2021. So
oh my God.
He's on that. He's on that.
That's very cool. Brink Bionics, we spoke about them earlier. CES booths are looking a bit different this year. Yeah, I would say so.
I mean, that's most of the people that we talk to. That's their setup right now.
That's their setup right now. I love seeing that. So if you guys could tweet more of your booth setups or your at-home setups watching the show, be sure to drop a hashtag CES 2021 to get it on the show. Okay,
let's see here. I'm going to go with this one because I know our audience. This might apply and help them. This is from Korea Ill Science, introducing the world's first microcurrent and LED scalp care device.
Wow.
I mean, I might need that in the future. Like this is all natural, if you didn't notice.
So it helps to hair growth.
Yeah, hair growth. It stimulates hair growth.
There's another one similar to this, Eye Restore. Same thing where it grows back your hair, natural process, just uses light,
have you tried
super safe. I have done some research. I'm looking at one right now called Eye Restore. But this is a new innovation, it looks like. But it's very cool because it grows back your hair stronger, apparently, and it's a proven science.
Well,
according to many reports.
I'll let you know about that.
Yeah, if you give it a shot.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Let me know how it goes. All right, let's take a look at what else we got going on here. Obviously, Las Vegas still misses us. We know that. Looks like Heidi Chung. If you guys want to watch, tomorrow is the Variety Entertainment Summit in partnership with CES. Catch my conversation with PlayStation, Denny's Diner, Levi's, and Fox Entertainment execs at 1:15 p.m. Is that today? 4:15 Eastern Time. Anyways, very cool of you, Heidi. Thanks for dropping that. And
that's a cool panel, too, because we've seen a lot of how entertainment and media has had to evolve. We saw a lot of kind of indications of that with Verizon, and also when we had Sony showing off like that immersive reality concert experience. And so this opens the door. You know, things are going to evolve and change. We'll still one day get back to live concerts, but you know, some of those virtual immersive concert things, I could see enjoying it, but also getting that 360 reality audio experience that amps it up to another level where now I can really enjoy this and feel like I'm as close to being at home while being at a concert and being in my jammies and eating snacks.
And seeing some of your favorite celebrities and
being
musicians.
in my jammies.
And mostly being in your snacks and your PJs. Yeah, totally.
It's totally good.
What else do we got going on?
Let me see here if I can find this one here. We have a tweet here from Bosch talking about revolutionizing fitness. They didn't use the hashtag like a Bosch, a missed opportunity where they have continuously kind of dropped that on us. But this is, you know, using AI, the first self-learning AI sensor for wearables and hearables. And we're seeing this integrated across not only just Bosch, but a lot of companies. You know, what's happening on our wrist is some of the most exciting stuff in tech right now.
Totally. Digital health, it's the future.
All right. We are just moments away from our next keynote featuring the Consumer Technology Association as they break down top tech trends to track in 2021. Hey, try saying that 3 times fast, Naomi.
Nope.
No, really?
I can't do it.
Top tech trends.
Top tech.
I can't even do it.
I already messed up. Well, let's see what the team over at the Consumer Technology Association had to say about future tech trends. It's time to find out. We'll see you later.
Top 10 trends.
Hello, and thank you for joining us for this historical all-digital CES. I'm Danielle Castagnol from the Consumer Technology Association's communications team. Today's session will preview trends to watch during CES and throughout 2021. You'll get an exclusive preview of projections from CTA's highly anticipated semi-annual industry forecasts, lending data and context to the categories to watch this week and in the year ahead. And don't forget, CTA's market research is available year-round, producing over 30 studies a year on topics ranging from content and entertainment, self-driving cars, life after COVID, and much more, all available on cta.tech/research. I have 2 important notes before we begin. Leslie and Steve's PowerPoint slides will be available on this page linked below. And following the presentation at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, you'll have an opportunity to ask questions with a live Q&A session with Steve and Leslie. To participate, you'll click on the live Q&A session below to join after the presentation ends. So with that, I'd like to welcome Steve Koenig, Vice President of Research for CTA, and Leslie Rohrbaugh, Director of Research for CTA.
Well, thank you, Danielle, and welcome again, everyone, to this session where Leslie and I are going to be examining the trends and technologies that we expect to see at CES 2021. Well, it's a new year, thank goodness. And as we look back to 2020, wow, that was tough. Really, the health crisis, the resulting economic downturn brought no shortages of challenges for consumers, for businesses, for governments alike. And I think you'd agree that as a global community, we confronted a lot of those challenges together, and more, we witnessed how technology innovation really rushed in to provide a myriad of solutions really across the economy. And I would even go further to say, saved a lot of lives and is continuing to save lives. And this is a pattern actually that we've seen before. And that's where we want to start in our examinations of trends at CES 2021 with this quote from British economist Christopher Freeman that I think really captures quite well just exactly what is going on in terms of technology innovation in this season. Now, Freeman was very well known for his study of innovation and its impact on markets and economies. And as you can see here, Freeman observed that innovation tends to accelerate and even bunch up during these periods of economic downturn and crises. And as that innovation is unleashed, this is what levels up business opportunities, it levels up economies and society at large. Now, what is Freeman really trying to tell us here? I think he's trying to tell us that when the economy is at its worst, is when we tend to see innovation at its best. And I think you'd agree, we've certainly witnessed this in this season. But again, this isn't the first time that we've seen this. No, in fact, the last time was in the 2008-2009 financial crisis. And out of that crisis, we saw the rise of cloud computing. We saw e-commerce sales accelerate. We saw new services like ride sharing come forward. So many different innovations that came out of that crisis, and so many more are coming out of this crisis. And the innovation that we're seeing and the evidence thereof is really all around us. And let me show you what I'm talking about as we lean into some compelling data from McKinsey captured really at the headwaters of the crisis. And this is exactly what Freeman was talking about when he talked about acceleration of innovation and innovation bunching up. I mean, these are big economic sectors. Take, for example, e-commerce, medicine, entertainment, education, and even bigger statistics that describe these trends in fast forward. And yeah, this data was taken a while ago at the headwaters of the crisis, as I said, but that doesn't matter. The point is that we haven't retreated from these positions and we haven't stood still, and we've continued to move forward. And a lot of these trends are still accelerating even now here in 2021, and they will continue really throughout the decade, really transforming the overall economy. So really, I mean, so many compelling examples here. I have to say my favorite has got to be in entertainment with streaming video, where it took Disney Plus just 5 months to hit 50 million global subscribers, and it took Netflix 7 years to do the same. Now, I know the season was different, the circumstances were different, but that doesn't matter. Freeman's principles in mass effect and so many of these trends in fast forward. The other thing that's in fast forward is really a trend that Leslie and I often describe to really speak to innovation really across this decade, and that is the intelligence of things. And this new IoT really bears testimony to the extent that AI and machine learning and so forth is really underpinning the global economy and just going into so many things, not just consumer tech. And there's a lot of evidence of this and many examples that you can see here on the screen. I mean, take machine learning. We hear more and more applications for this. Robotic process automation, poised to become a $2 billion industry, according to Gartner this year. A lot of people think RPA has everything to do with robots flooding the factory floor. You know, not necessarily. It's really more about process automation. And speaking of processing, natural language processing and a lot of the advances that we're seeing there, really cementing voice as that next generation human-machine interface. As consumers, we endorse this in our interactions with digital assistants, using voice for command and control. And lastly, cloud computing. Really a veritable race to cloud. Everything seems to be happening in the cloud today, and even more is going to happen tomorrow. So a lot happening here with the intelligence of things, really underpinning innovation in this decade. Leslie, there's so much more that we want to share with folks as it pertains to technology and themes across the show. What's in store?
Yeah, well, there's a lot in store, and we've got a lot to talk about. Now, with CES 2021 being all digital, you'll be able to create a highly personalized experience that'll enable you to see cutting-edge technologies and the latest product launches from a variety of tech verticals. But Steve and I wanted to pinpoint some of the major trends to watch, notably these 6 on screen here, including digital health, which we'll start with first, to digital transformation, robotics, and drones, which is one of my favorite areas of the show each year, to vehicle tech, which I'm pretty sure is one of Steve's favorites, to smart cities, and of course 5G, a technology we'll hear a lot of threaded through many products at the show. Now, over the past few years, and especially during 2020, as we all know, we've seen the universe of digital health quickly expand, fulfilling demands and needs within our everyday lifestyles, fostering relationships between us and our healthcare providers, and also providing new, unique tools within the health system itself. The global pandemic has accelerated technology innovation and many pre-existing trends, such as the desire for consumers to take hold of our own day-to-day health, whether it be tracking our daily activity, using a smartwatch or fitness band, or managing our food or water intake using an app on our phone. There's a multitude of ways we can now reliably depend on technologies to do this for us. And when it comes to patient care, the number of resources has skyrocketed over the past couple years, even prior to the pandemic, and they just keep growing. We're seeing new services such as telehealth evolve, where we can have digital check-ins about not only our physical, but our mental health as well. And we can share some of the data we've collected on our devices in real time with our doctors. Additionally, technology is enhancing care in formal settings, such as the use of robots in hospitals or drones carrying medical supplies, which we'll discuss shortly. Now, to further help illustrate just how much digital health has become part of our everyday lives, I'd like to focus on some of our CTA 5-year industry forecast data. And to note, this is US data only, but it's fresh off the presses and just released this week. The data on screen here represents the ongoing growth of connected health monitoring devices in particular, which encompasses devices such as app-connected products that track heart rate, blood pressure, temperature, and more. Many of now are FDA approved. And as we know, the COVID-19 crisis has put a new focus on monitoring health beyond just fitness activities. And, while there's non-connected devices that can take these measurements, connected health monitoring devices offer the ability to track health progress over time, making them ideal for managing long-term illnesses and chronic conditions as well. And the market potential for these devices is quite high, as you can see, and the total shipment revenues reached $632 million in 2020, a whopping 73% increase over 2019. And we expect that they'll reach about $845 million in 2021, which is a 34% increase over 2020. And much of tech's positive role in care can also be seen within the digital therapeutics category, which is a relatively new branch of digital health that uses software-based interventions to enhance clinician decision-making, optimize the dose and delivery of other forms of medical treatment through patient monitoring, or even act as standalone intervention. And some of the examples range from digital exercise programs specifically designed for patients with diabetes to virtual reality-based mental health apps for patients with PTSD. And, one of the CES 2021 Innovation Award honorees includes EPSI, which is a digital therapeutic app geared to those with epilepsy. And it helps track trends and triggers for seizures, as well as medication intake. And to hear more about how this quote unquote software as a medicine category is continuing to grow, be sure to watch the CES session on January 12th called Prescribing Digital Therapeutics as the Medicine of Today, where a panel of experts will provide a behind the scenes look at the technology, strategy, challenges, and really future of this market, which is expected to reach an estimated $11.8 billion globally by 2027. Now, many wearables can also be used as digital therapies as well as everyday self-care tools. And when we traditionally think about this digital health category, we think of wearables as ones you wear on your wrist. But as we've seen in the past few years and during previous CES shows, there are just so many more options. For example, take the Oura Ring, and not only tracks your activity, but it measures your body temperature, respiratory rate, and also provides you with daily scores related to how well you slept and more. The company also partnered with the NBA last summer to help monitor players' health in order to prevent the spread of COVID-19 among the league. Now, another example here on screen is the Bio Button by BioIntelliSense, also a CES 2021 Innovation Award honoree. And this is just one type of wearable BioIntelliSense manufactures, but it's a medical grade device that can continuously track vital signs and other physiological biometrics. And the Bio Button is also FDA cleared. Now, an additional benefit to this particular device is that it can conduct a daily health screener based on CDC guidelines that issues a status of either cleared versus non-cleared based on early signs or patterns of potentially having COVID-19. But, with digital health, what does the future hold for this space? Well, once again, we're seeing the digital health space really transform in terms of using a variety of innovations. Products like touchless temperature screenings have become expected in many public spaces nowadays. But more interesting are the other advancements in this realm. Now, going back to robots, hospitals and care centers have begun utilizing robot triage helpers, which are coming to the aid of frontline workers who have been really overwhelmed with the influx of patients over the past few months. And hospitals not only see robots as an opportunity to help with triage, but to also reduce both the burden and possible infection or exposure rates within hospitals and their workers. Artificial intelligence within the health space is also on the rise. Generally we define AI as a term addressing machine behavior and function that exhibits the intelligence and behavior of humans. This form of intelligence is now working alongside providers to help inform or drive diagnosis of a patient. And just this fall, actually, the UK announced a plan to invest roughly $330 million in developing health and care AI systems. Now, virtual, augmented, and mixed reality technologies are also changing the healthcare landscape. And one example is the use of Microsoft HoloLens, which enables doctors to socially distance themselves from technicians while enabling seamless real-time collaboration during patient care. And AR and VR are also allowing providers to train other staff on certain procedures remotely, which has really been deemed critical as social distancing remains in place. And, some of these advances we've seen in digital health are just part of the overall digital transformation trend, which I'll turn it over to Steve to discuss more about now.
Yeah, absolutely, Leslie. And I have to say, we've got to place healthcare really at the vanguard of so many industries in terms of digital transformation. And when the health crisis descended last year, of course, there were a lot of organizations that were on that transformation track. There were others that had to get there very quickly, which is where this quote from Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella comes in and just also bears testimony to Freeman's principles about acceleration of innovation and innovation bunching up. But 2 years worth of digital transformation in about 2 months. And this is another thread I think that we'll find across the show floor at CES 2021. Now, one point I want to make is that digital transformation is not just a uniform set of requirements or a punch list, if you like. It can take a lot of different shapes and sizes. And some examples here of small businesses may need to get online really quickly with a direct-to-consumer sales strategy. They may need to move to cloud for data access for workers or even to support customers. And third, I mean, process automation, as I talked about before, with ostensibly fewer workers on the factory floor or at the office, a lot of reasons to automate substantial processes for a range of reasons. But digital transformation certainly in mass effect, and just put some numbers to this, let's take a look at some data here from Flexera, the global IT management and consulting firm. And these are compelling data from their 2020 State of the Cloud report. And this was a survey among global enterprise organizations. And you can see compelling statistics speaking to a planned continued focus on cloud migration. This isn't just a one and done, like we've crossed the finish line. This is a continuous endeavor. And again, something that's going to accelerate here in 2021. And last, at the bottom down here, it's reassuring to see that 83% of these organizations cited security along with cost as top cloud challenges. Now, you would expect the CTO and the CFO to argue about this in the boardroom. How are we going to pay for this? How are we going to secure this? But great to see security top of mind here and organizations wanting to secure whether it's personally identifiable information, customers' financial data, maybe it's health data. This is another theme across CES 2021 that you're going to encounter and learn about different encryption techniques and ways that stakeholders are protecting data in a variety of ways. But Leslie and I also want to make the point that digital transformation is not the exclusive domain of global enterprise organizations. No, it's for small business and the public sector too. And the small business example here in fitness, a lot of gyms are small businesses, and the core value proposition, of course, is a physical location, the gym. I mean, we go to the gym, we get our workout, and we go home. And in this season, that's kind of not really been possible. So how do these businesses survive? Well, they digitally transform to really bring forward altogether new opportunities for customers to keep them aligned on their fitness goals, whether it's online fitness classes, nutrition seminars, and these things. The education system, another example of digital transformation in this season, and those of you who are parents could speak volumes about this. And although this is somewhat of a sensitive topic, depending on who you talk to, the education of our children is paramount. But thank goodness we've had these digital tools to keep students in front of their teachers, keep them on that path of education. Some examples here in Europe with e-learning platforms in France and the LINDED program in the UK. And of course, in the public sector, not just private sector, but also public sector, the courts, a number of digital techniques being used to keep legal proceedings moving and the courts moving ahead. And so, Leslie, it's clear that the digital transformation has come to the rescue of so many businesses and industries, but I reckon that's not the only technology that has come to our rescue.
Yeah, that's right. So robotics is another area with mass innovation impacting a variety of sectors globally, and is also, again, one of the most exciting and my favorite areas of CES. There are cleaning robots disinfecting stores, to airplanes, to hospitals, autonomous delivery services using robots and drones to deliver packages to consumers and medical supplies to those in need. And we've also seen more advancements in robots conducting commercial tasks such as stocking shelves and even cooking. And of course, as the pandemic continues, robots have aided the healthcare industry with many tools to limit their exposure to the virus, such as robot triage, which I mentioned earlier. And diving in a bit more to robots disinfecting spaces to keep people safe, again, just one example, we've seen a substantial deployment within the hygiene space, whether they emit UV light to disinfect stores, hospitals, or other large spaces, or just generally clean common areas in a more efficient or time-saving manner. And on screen here, you'll see just a sampling of the many form factors and brands involved in this space, which protects many people and workers who might have been exposed to the virus if they themselves were physically disinfecting these spaces. And really all around the world, we're seeing innovation take place within robotics. And many of these companies have been around for a while, but adoption had been a bit slower due to cost or other business model impacts. However, take Starship Technologies based in Estonia. They were founded in 2014, and we saw quite a few of them in the Washington, D.C. metro area just this past year. And Steve has also seen a few in his own neighborhood in Northern Virginia. And, as Steve mentioned earlier, we're seeing rapid adoption for technology solutions today, robots being one of them, of course. And we're seeing these solutions become necessary in order to keep the world safe and protected. And really, since the beginning of the pandemic, more autonomous delivery systems such as drones, robots, or self-driving vehicles have been deployed for a variety of use cases, such as delivering crucial products from food to medical supplies. And the pandemic has influenced the increase in demand for options such as contactless delivery. Thus, the deployment of these technologies has greatly accelerated. Amazon launched Scout, which you might have seen cruising around the sidewalks of your own neighborhood to deliver goods. And UPS and CVS have teamed up to use Matternet's M2 drones for medicine delivery to residents of retirement communities in Florida, and this is allowing residents to obtain prescriptions without the need to leave their home. And during CES 2021, another key session to check out is Robotics to the Rescue, which will discuss how robotics, automated deliveries, and drones have and will continue to play a critical role in supporting underserved communities and public health. But of course, we also want to know, as researchers, we want to know, how do consumers feel about these robots and drones? Well, in a CTA research study conducted just this past summer, over a quarter of U.S. respondents indicated they're now more favorable of the technologies compared to their views before the health crisis. And much of this is likely due to the fact that people are relying on technology to help them live more normal lives in the wake of the crisis. These technologies have also prevented the need for, hand-to-hand contact in many cases, but have also acted as efficient ways to receive supplies. And speaking of moving not just goods, but people, Steve is now going to highlight one of his favorite areas of the show, of course, but some of the really cool vehicle tech trends we'll encounter at CES 2021.
My pleasure, Leslie. And when we look at the space of transportation and the broader mobility sector, I think we're confronted with a somewhat humorous dichotomy, because on the one hand, there's not a lot going on. We're not traveling around certainly as much as we used to. But on the other hand, and this is where we intersect with CES 2021, there's a lot going on. And some of the major technology themes as it pertains to automotive, vehicle tech, mobility, transportation are on the screen. And you'll notice, like, well, wait a minute, Steve, we've been talking about a lot of these things, for several years, and that's true. So it begs the question, what's going to be different at CES 2021? Well, I can provide a few examples, starting with cellular V2X connectivity. We've been talking about this technology for a while, but it's starting to get really interesting. Now, why do I say that? Well, consider the advancing 5G networks that we see today. That really changes things, is going to enable more opportunities for C-V2X to deploy. We have a number of vehicles from vehicle OEMs poised to roll off the factory floor equipped with cellular V2X. So the pieces are moving on the playboard, and this puts in a broader context around smart cities. Self-driving vehicles, another technology arena we've been talking about for years and years, and of course the business models thereof, robo-taxis like with the Waymo example here, that just went public, by the way, in the Phoenix, Arizona, USA area. But I think, as Leslie was describing, a broader context of just autonomous systems in general. And electrification. Here is a great example of a trend in super fast forward. And CES is going to start with a jolt, with a very important keynote from a very important vehicle OEM and a very important industry leader, Mary Barra, CEO of General Motors. Now, Ms. Barra is going to describe for us GM's all-electric future, and this is really significant. And the reason I say that is because here we have a major American automaker joining the ranks of so many European automakers and Asian automakers to really work forward a strategy for electrification. And what that looks like, I think, is each and every model year we can expect more and more cars and the lineups thereof to be punctuated with electric vehicles. And of course, we know there's no shortage of market projections and so forth around market size and growth in different countries and regions around the world. But I want to just point out one sector of electric vehicles that has critical importance, at least to the U.S. electric vehicle market, and that is trucks. And this is a category that I am just super passionate about. And the reason is I'm a native Texan. I drive a full-size 4x4 pickup truck, and I just think this category is awesome. And there's so much drama here, dramatic design with the Tesla Cybertruck. I mean, there's just so much going on here, new features. The Rivian truck up in the top left can make a tank turn, and GM's Hummer truck can actually crab walk, meaning it can drive diagonally. Now, why would you want to do that? I don't know, but that is so cool. I want that. So the point I'm coming to is that, as you may know, a truck is the #1 selling vehicle in America, and that's been the case for years and years, the Ford F-150. And so therefore, I think the electric truck market is a huge swing factor in the success of the electric vehicle market in the United States. And that just opens up so many different interesting opportunities. Just one other further note about Cellular V2X, as I mentioned, we're overlaying with 5G in smart cities. It'll be very interesting to see as those networks deploy how that will take shape. Will it be vehicle to vehicle first? Will it be vehicle to infrastructure, more smart cities things? So just something to lean into if you're covering automotive and vehicle tech. Cellular V2X really in the starting blocks and starting to take off this year. Which begs the question, what's happening with 5G networks? So time for a quick time for a global status update. To date, we see about 135 commercial 5G networks stood up around the world. And as you can see from the color coding here, and really the key in the bottom left, this hasn't been a really uniform deployment. No, in fact, different rates. But I think by the middle part of the decade, we can reasonably expect to see 5G up and running really all around the globe. And congruent with so many existing uptrends in technology today that we've seen accelerate, 5G is also part of the story. Here are data from Qualcomm and the IHS Markit 2020 5G economy study, where they documented almost an 11% increase in CapEx investment, and more significantly, a higher contribution in terms of jobs directly attributable to 5G. Both of these things I fully expect will expand over the coming years, and the job story is really remarkable, and why I think we'll see more jobs directly attributable to 5G is that these networks are going to grow not only in scope but also in capability. So some very robust capabilities for 5G coming online very, very soon. And speaking of robust, I think we can expect some very robust remarks from another important industry leader, Hans Vestberg, Chairman and CEO of Verizon, in his keynote in just a few short hours. Mr. Vestberg's thesis for his keynote is, in fact, how 5G will serve as the framework for the 21st century. And so we're going to hear about expansion of 5G networks, certainly Verizon's 5G networks, and I'm going to be looking for new applications beyond consumer mobile broadband, like industrial IoT applications that are eventually going to allow 5G to really overlay the entire global economy and empower so many existing ancillary trends like smart cities. And Leslie, I'd like to hear more about smart cities. What are we going to see at CES 2021?
Yeah, you got it. So 5G is just one ingredient technology, if you will, that's going to help empower and support the infrastructure of smart cities. Overall, smart cities promise to solve cost challenges, encourage economic growth, increase sustainability, and fuel growth in communities around the world. And as expected, CES is bringing together the latest in IoT, of course, 5G connectivity, as Steve mentioned, AI, and more to power these smart cities. Some of the key technologies within them include things like network sensors, which can include temperature sensors, safety cameras, proximity sensors, and air pollution sensors, monitoring public health conditions. Smart kiosks are another development within smart cities, which can provide public alerts, access to health information, navigation assistance to different facilities, all in real time. Data dashboards is another great example of a smart city technology, and similar to smart kiosks, these give citizens access to up-to-the-minute health info and other data relevant to monitoring current health conditions, all on your smart device. And contact tracing and using big and open data is another trend we've heard quite a bit about lately, and it can help determine trends and hotspots leading to intervention to potentially avoid further transmission of viruses or other conditions. And as we continue to think about smart buildings, there's a number of technologies that'll assist us with returning to a safer workplace or other public facility. And really, these investments in smarter building technologies are going to stick around and pay dividends in the future as we emerge from the pandemic, as they'll continue to help facilitate how we do business. Touchless and voice-enabled tech is a trend we've seen in this space really advance over the past few years, with more integration of voice controls, the use of motion detection, and even using smartphone-activated automatic doors and elevators. And additionally, we've seen more and more facilities announcing they're upgrading their buildings to have cleaner air and surfaces. And in order to do so, many have adopted smart air filtration systems, high-efficiency HVAC systems, UV sanitizing lights, and of course, robotic and automatic cleaning protocols in shared spaces like we mentioned earlier. But occupancy and social distancing is also on people's minds. Smart buildings have installed devices such as sensors that measure occupancy in shared spaces, and also spatial intelligence platforms where employees, for example, can use a dashboard to see which areas are at capacity before they even leave their desks. And, as we all know and are using this right now, remote collaboration tools have pretty much become mandatory. And we're seeing more and more conference rooms equipped with them, but also the use of advanced technologies such as augmented and virtual reality devices are on the rise to help facilitate live events, meetings, but also employee trainings. So overall, you can see there's just amazing things happening in the world of technology, which will certainly be on display during CES 2021. So now I'd like to turn things back over to Danielle.
Thank you so much, Steve and Leslie. As a reminder, the slides from this presentation are now available on this page posted below. And starting now, you'll have an opportunity to ask Steve and Leslie questions during the live Q&A session. To participate, please click on the live Q&A session below to join now. Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. This is CES 2021. Now, as promised, it's time to hear from Gregory Bryant at Intel. Take a look.
Gregory Bryant of Intel, thanks for joining me and welcome to the all-digital CES 2021.
Hey, Rich, thanks for having me.
It's a little different this year. I know we're not in Las Vegas, but this has been a really great show so far. I know Intel is a big part of CES. What kind of key announcements are you making this year?
Well, we had several key announcements this year that really showcase the breadth and the reach of Intel as a global technology leader. And it was really on full display this year. It was a lot of fun. We announced, first we announced in our data center group that we were shipping our first 10 nanometer Ice Lake server product that we were in production and we were ramping shipments this quarter. And then as you transition over to the PC business, we had major announcements all the way from entry to the premium market segments. I had the privilege of launching 4 new families of processors this year. We announced our 11th generation vPro processors that are specifically built for business with integrated security capabilities. That was exciting. We launched our first ever Intel Evo Chromebooks, so bringing all the performance and all the experience benefits of Intel Evo into the Chrome ecosystem. We launched a whole new family of processors for education, which, as you know, with everyone working from home and learning from home, it's become so essential, so important. Those processors have new media and collaboration capabilities to make it easier for those students. And then we also launched new families of mobile and desktop processors for high performance gaming, content creation, et cetera. So all in all, just a bevy of new products. And then at the end, I had the opportunity to show a sneak preview of our next generation family of processors that we call Alder Lake. That's the code name, that's coming in the second half of this year, which for the first time has 2 new types of CPU cores integrated into one product. So we're really excited about the benefits that those products can bring. And obviously, as we are here today, just computing has become so essential that our ability to scale, to work with our partners across the ecosystem, these processors result in more than 500 designs in 2021. To be able to bring those all to market, it's just really exciting. I was happy to do it here at CES.
Yeah, this is a crucial time for processing power and computers and laptops. Like you said, as so many people are working from home, you've got that market. You've got the education market, which is really so many students need those Chromebooks. So tell me about the pandemic in Intel's business. What was the impact? I mean, obviously, it saw a lot more sales, I imagine.
Well, you're right. If you step back, just post-pandemic, you've seen, the digitization of everything accelerate. And it's been a huge disruption. And for us, our number one priority as we went in the pandemic was to focus on our people, keeping our people safe. We knew if we kept our people safe and we really focused on it, we could deliver to our customers, who in turn could deliver these essential products that are needed all throughout the world in infrastructure and PCs, in the network, et cetera. And I'm just really proud of the way that we rallied together in the company and with our partners. We were able to continue. We were able to, on the fly, innovate and change how we work, how we collaborate, how we do engineering, how we run our factories. And I'm just so proud of how the company rallied together to stay operational and to fulfill, that demand. And computing is just so essential. We took that, to heart. We took that really personally, that we're a big part of providing these essential services to people all around the world, and we were able to do just a great job. And like I said, I couldn't be more proud under the circumstances of how we pulled together, not just ourselves, but with all of our partners.
So one of the key trends we've seen at this year's CES and in some years past is AI. So what is Intel doing in that area to kind of further the AI world?
No, that's great. You just see this opportunity that's been created with the explosion of data. This data revolution, and not just the explosion of data, but as you're alluding, just kind of the need to create value and to derive information from this explosion of data that's at the heart of all these business models and services. And that's really resulted in the need for computing, and computing, is being distributed. You see computing exploding in the data center, in the network, out at the edge. And at Intel, we're a computing company. So you're right, we've positioned ourselves now to deliver products for AI and AI training, for the 5G network transformation, for the intelligent edge. And we're really transforming the company to pursue those opportunities. And we're not just a CPU company anymore. You may have seen, we made some recent announcements where company Habana that we've acquired, that's part of the Intel family, we've launched 8 new Gaudi processors for AI acceleration. And we also announced recently a design win at Amazon to accelerate AI training. So we're very excited about the opportunity for computing in all of its forms, and then specifically for AI and AI training. Now we've got these new processors and accelerators that are in market.
All right, this is really important. Education. I know it's very important to Intel. And last year, Intel announced it's teaming up with Arizona's largest community college to design an associate's degree in AI. And you talked about that effort. And this is welcome news, because CTA research shows that 80% of technology business leaders say it's increasingly hard to find job candidates with the right skills. So what are some of the goals of this program?
Well, I'm so excited about this program. We partnered with Maricopa County Community College District, which is the largest community college district in the United States, to do this first ever associate's degree in AI at the community college, which we're just couldn't be more excited about. And we believe deeply, passionately, that AI should really be shaped by a diverse set of students and people with diverse backgrounds and experiences. And working with a community college is really enabling us to make the skills and the training more accessible to this wide variety of students and population. And as you said, AI is an emerging skills area. The AI skills gap, we believe, is critical. And we're committed to working with education institutions across the United States to fill that gap. We're shaping the curriculum, partnering with Maricopa County Community College District to create the curriculum, to provide faculty support, to provide internships and real hands-on job opportunities and programming and projects. And we believe this is just key to giving people access to these skills and helping them position themselves for current job opportunities and obviously, what will be future job opportunities, massive growth in AI jobs in the future.
Yeah, I imagine there's a lot of growth in this area, a lot of good opportunities for those graduates to really take those skills that they've learned and put them into work, and of course, a paycheck as well. Gregory Bryant from Intel, thank you so much for joining me today. Have a fantastic CES.
Thank you, Rich. Thanks for having me.
Welcome back to CES 2021. We're rounding out our Wednesday with some great sessions. The Consumer Technology Association just gave us their take on the top tech trends coming in 2021 and beyond. Coming up soon, Engadget is bringing you their Best of CES awards. You're not going to want to miss it.
And speaking of things not to be missed, there's more than 1,900 exhibitor showcases that you can visit. We have new products and innovations from all over the world, so many cool things to discover and people to connect with. And as we mentioned before, we've got Engadget's Best of CES is coming up. But first, in case you missed it, we had some excitement about our iHeart session yesterday. Take another look. Oh, next up, Engadget's own Sherilyn Lowe and Chris Velasco host.
Hey, everybody. I'm Ryan Seacrest, honored to be here at the first virtual CES. I usually make the trip to Vegas, but this year, obviously, a little different. When the COVID-19 pandemic struck in March of last year, the massive global live music machine ground to a halt. The impact on the artist community was devastating. With ticket revenue gone and streaming and album sales now their only source of income and the only way to stay connected to their fans, the artist community pivoted quickly and turned to technology.
Is this on? Yes, it is. So I'm on my own, sort of.
Coldplay's Chris Martin surprised the world by posting songs from his home studio on Instagram. And almost overnight, the entire music community showed their hearts and souls and came together to help. Dozens of artists began posting free performances on social media. iHeartRadio's Living Room concert on Fox in March, hosted by Sir Elton John, set a Sunday night ratings record. More fundraising events followed on television and radio, and soon state-of-the-art concerts created with XR technology. The industry responded. Tonight, here at CES, we'll see how an industry with its back against the wall turned to technology to create live music experiences that helped keep them connected to their fans and turn record profits for music companies. I'll talk to breakout pop star sensation Dua Lipa, but first, we're going to hear from iHeartMedia executives Tom Pullman and John Sykes. Tom and John, let's start by backing up to the beginning of the pandemic. So much news, so much information, so much uncertainty, so much emotion. And I think people wanted to feel good. They wanted to escape into what is universal, and that is great music. And I was really impressed with how you both and iHeart came in with speed quickly to come up with this first stay-at-home concert, which was the iHeart Living Room concert for America. That was on Fox. But talk about the pivot you made, the speed in which you did it, and how you got the artists to agree. John?
Ryan, the country was literally closing down before our eyes in the middle of March. We were 2 weeks away from our iHeartRadio Music Awards on Fox. And within 1 week from the show, the venue shut down and the artists were all in lockdown. So we reached out to Fox 7 days before the show and said, listen, the artists are all stuck at home like us. Why don't we take the show to their homes? And our executive producer, Joel Gowan, sent notes out to all the artists and show them how to turn an ordinary iPhone camera into a high quality camera. And 7 days later, we put the iHeartRadio Living Room concert on Fox together. It cost us $275,000, and it set a Sunday night non-sports ratings record.
And the interesting thing is when you approach the artists, it took a second for them to wrap their heads around it. But the great thing was they were kind of feeling the same uncertainty that I think the whole world was, and they wanted to help. And sometimes they kind of had to look around their apartment and say, hey, what do I have? Elton John, for example, said, hey, I really want to perform, but I can't. But hey, can I host? And we're like, okay. And
John, it's amazing.
We'll take that.
After the success of our iHeart Living Room concert on Fox, the evolution of virtual events quickly began. Almost overnight, we saw technology continue to break down the walls between artists and fans that had been put up by the pandemic. 2 weeks after the Living Room concert, Global Citizen staged a worldwide television broadcast featuring more superstars, where for the first time we saw the Rolling Stones play from their bedrooms. And Keith Urban performed from his home studio, backed up by Keith Urban. Then came the fundraisers. In May, while New York was in full lockdown, Tina Fey hosted the first ever virtual charity telethon for the Robin Hood Foundation to benefit the city's poor. The biggest superstars on Broadway came together on one screen to sing the classic song, New York, New York. Billy Joel's performance from his home in Palm Beach was televised live in Times Square across dozens of giant video billboards, while the lights atop the Empire State Building pulsated to the rhythm of the music. The night raised $125 million for New Yorkers in need of food and shelter. In June, iHeartRadio teamed with Procter & Gamble for Can't Cancel Pride, a virtual celebration of LGBTQ rights, which raised millions for LGBTQ plus organizations. With no access to live audiences, award shows quickly pivoted, with innovative virtual performances using new technology to connect artists to their fans. Soon, more artists upped the game yet again, turning to AR and XR technology to bring virtual performances to a stunning new level. Rap superstar Travis Scott teamed up with Fortnite, and an 18-year-old superstar Billie Eilish teamed with Oculus Ventures for Where Do We Go?, an original live stream concert. And in September, iHeartRadio converted our West Coast theater into a COVID-safe bubble and invited artists to perform live on stage for the first time in over 6 months, complete with the first ever Festival Live Teams fan wall that brought real fans back to the arena in an entirely new way via Microsoft Teams technology. How will art and technology continue to intersect and reinvent? There's no better forum than right here at CES this week to challenge ourselves to reimagine how this powerful marriage can take the artist and fan experience to the next level.
In closing, what would you say each one of you should answer this, your proudest moment has been looking back at all of this in the last several months since spring?
I think about how we didn't stand still, and we worked with the whole music community. We had a lot of artists that wanted to continue to do things. They just didn't know how. I like the fact that we all rallied together and we tried different things.
And one wonderful byproduct from all of this, Ryan, was the money we raised for people in need. Our first event raised $15 million for Feeding America and the First Responders Foundation. The Robin Hood event that iHeart presented, 125 million people for $125 million that people couldn't eat in New York. So there was a wonderful to see the artists come together for that reason. It really made us very proud that we kind of got it going.
In 2017, an unknown artist named Dua Lipa came on the scene and delivered one of the biggest songs of the year. Her debut album was streamed 7 million stream times and won her 2 Grammys. This year, in the middle of a pandemic, she bravely decided to release her second album, Future Nostalgia, which last week earned her 6 Grammy nominations. Dua Lipa joining us now from London. Dua, thank you for coming on. How you holding up? How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm well. I've been forced to, as many of us, understand some technology that I wasn't so familiar with since last spring. And I'm curious, since I've known you, you've always been on the go. And now your world stops for a moment. What sort of, what plays on you? What happens to an artist when they're not on the move?
Honestly, I feel like I've learned so much about patience and just taking a step back and learning how to work all the techie stuff and building green screens and trying to think outside the box and trying to think of ways to still get people all together even when we're so far away. I think that's kind of the most important thing. I think that's something that maybe I think has been really holding people together, is that sense of community and so much support that has been shown between people. That's been really nice. So,
Joe, I've heard from some artists. I've heard from some artists that have said, "Oh, I don't want to put out up-tempo music now or in these times." And I know you have said, "No, we need that feeling. We need that energy." Talk a little bit about that decision.
I'd be lying if I said it wasn't scary to put a record out to begin with, especially when the pandemic started and there was so much uncertainty. But I also felt like I wrote this album and I made this album to serve as a form of escapism. And when it came to kind of deciding whether I should or whether I shouldn't put it out, I was like, well, the reason I made it was to kind of get away from any outside pressures, whatever was going on in the world. So I was like, maybe now is the time to put this out. And I am really, really grateful, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I wouldn't have wanted to have kept the record and saved it for another time. I'm so happy that it came out, and just the response from people and people's reaction has been so rewarding that I'm over the moon about it.
And speaking of those people, how have you used technology lately to stay in touch with your fans and to keep that rapport with them?
I've done lots of stuff like going online and doing like Instagram lives and talking directly to people, and that sometimes can be quite daunting because first of all, when you're talking directly to a screen and there's no one really responding and you're just all on your own kind of just talking and trying to figure out how to explain things, I did feel like that really brought me closer to my listeners. I had the opportunity to sit down and talk about every single song on the record and why I wrote it and what that meant to me and where that came from and where the inspiration came from. And I don't get to do that very often. And so for that, I was really grateful. And that was something that I think was quite important, especially early on. I do feel like that every time I go on Insta Live or something, I'm either like bursting into tears or celebrating something or forgetting my words or not knowing what to say. So it's a pick and mix. You have no idea what you're going to get with one of my Insta Lives, but they end up being quite fun. So
I'm thinking about you, me, Miley, Cyrus. We just talked not too long ago about your single Prisoner. She was in LA, you're in London, I was in New York, yet it seemed like we were all together. And I think that we can stay so connected in these times by systems like this. Did you actually record it in different places at different times?
No, so I did my main, I did 4 months of lockdown in London. And then then things started opening up a bit and I was able to come to the States. And so Miley and I actually did end up getting to
in person
together and recording this song together. So, yeah.
But so many times there are artists, maybe you can speak to this, that they're not in the same place. They are listening to track, singing to track, right?
Yeah, it happens. It happens all the time. And especially now, it's kind of also the really good thing about music is all these unexpected collaborations are happening, but it tends to be from people all over the world. And so it's kind of impossible, especially with people's schedules, to try and get people together, but you still want to make art and you still want to put it out. And, that's also so exciting, not only for you as the artist, but also for your listeners and being able to just put, different things out. And so, it's a rare luxury to be able to be in the same room together, but it's amazing.
Not too long ago, you did a big streaming performance. It was a performance you had told me that you were working on choreography for a long time. Tell me about putting that together and how different or similar it was to something you might normally do.
Just before the pandemic started, I was about 1 week away from starting tour rehearsals. Mm-hmm. And so I had gotten my whole team, my band, everyone together, and we were about to go into rehearsals, and then lockdown happened in the UK and nothing was able to happen. I had to postpone my tour. And I had all these ambitions of, wanting to mature as an artist, wanting to grow as a performer, wanting to get better at, being better at being on stage, and understanding my body better and how I move and all those things. And I think this time I really had the opportunity to be able to hone in on those things, get the rehearsal time that I need in order to feel like I can be really good at my job. I feel like on my first record, there were so many instances where I would have to be on a TV show or a TV performance, and I would have 30 minutes before I went on stage to just try and mark exactly where I had to stand to do what I needed to do to perform the song, because I was back to back with touring, performances, promo, interviews, photo shoots, anything. And I was like, okay, this record, I want to do things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Because I love to work, so I'm always just yes, let's do it. And I think what I've realized, although I'm still yes, I'm down, let's do it, I want to work, I want to, get all this stuff done, I also realized how much time I need to be able to dedicate to myself in order to be good at these things and not just do them for the sake of doing them, but when I do them, for them to be really good.
Preparation. Because at first you're so things are so happening so fast, and it's so great that you're sprinting, and then you realize there is preparation time that has to be calculated.
Absolutely, and for something like this, for this live stream that I'm doing, I don't think people have ever seen me do anything like this, and for that I'm really excited. I think the whole process has been quite surprising and exciting and intriguing for me, and I'd be interested to know what other people think. So,
well, the people will speak. They will. The people are candid. The people will speak. The beauty of our generation, your generation, I should say. I'm so happy to have gotten to know you over the last few years and know your music, and what you're doing for the world of popular music is something that we all love and we need. And so keep it up, Dua.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you to CES, to Dua, also Tom and John, iHeartMedia, and MediaLink for having us here tonight. Here's to more exciting shared experiences this year. Take care.
Next up, Engadget's own Sherlyn Lowe and Chris Velasco host the annual Best of CES Awards from Engadget's new virtual stage. And speaking of the Best of CES, did you know all the sessions, keynotes, and digital resources will be on demand and available on this site through February the 15th? So take all the time you need to review and discover everything CES has to offer. Now, over to the Best of CES, and Sherlyn and Chris, take it away!
Hey everyone, this is Dana Wallman, Engadget's editor-in-chief. I think we can all agree CES feels different without Las Vegas. None of us knew for sure what it would be like to cover an online show like this, but looking back, I'm incredibly proud of the work we've done. I'd like to take a moment to thank our team for writing all these stories and making all these videos. And thank you to our audience who have gone out of their way to read Engadget this whole long week. Despite a smaller show this year, we've been plenty busy with long nights and enough fodder for 14 award categories. Hopefully this time next year we'll be back in Las Vegas, but in the meantime, my colleagues Chris Velasco and Sherlyn Lowe are about to host the winners ceremony on our awesome new virtual stage. Chris and Cher have been live streaming all through the pandemic, and I know they're gonna kill it today. Break a leg, guys, and congrats to all the winners and finalists.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Engadget's virtual stage at CES 2021. And hey, thanks for tuning in. This is the official Best of CES Awards ceremony. What you're looking at right now is the trophy we'll actually be sending out to winners after they get announced here. Joining me to unveil the winners today is Senior Mobile Editor Chris Velasco. Hello V, how are you?
Sherlyn, I'm doing great. I can't wait because this is going to be a great show.
Oh yeah. For the 8th year in a row, Engadget is judging the official Best of CES Awards. And despite the show moving to a fully online virtual format, right, there was still, as our editor-in-chief Dana Woolman just said, plenty of fodder. In fact, there were enough products for us to consider over 14 different categories, thanks to the more than 1,900 brands, according to the CTA, that took part this year. So that's a lot. That's a whole lot of news. B, do you feel like you have been able to see everything that CES 2021 has had to offer?
Sherlyn, I'll be honest, no one ever leaves CES thinking that they have seen everything. But I do have to say, I'm so proud of the work our editors put into finding the best that this show has to offer. We've spent the last 3 days sifting through announcements, poring over nominations, not just from exhibitors, but from many of you at home. And there's no question in my mind, the list of finalists this year is stronger than ever.
Indeed. And speaking of, let's get right to it. The first category that we're going to be announcing is Best Accessibility Tech. And this category goes to the innovation or device that can best help the elderly or people with disabilities live fuller and more independent lives. The nominees are Wearable Devices Limited's Mudra Band, Good Maps Explore, presented by American Printing House for the Blind, and Samsung's Bot Handy. And the winner is Good Maps Explore. This is a navigation app for people who are visually impaired or blind. And as senior editor Jess Condit says, it's only bound to get better with time thanks to indoor mapping. Congratulations, Good Maps Explore.
Congratulations. And now moving on to the Best Digital Health and Fitness Product. This category is for the products that demonstrate the most innovative use of technology to improve users' health and well-being. The nominees are the Omron Vital Sight, the WonderSize Live Motion Matching System, the Quantum Operation Non-Invasive Blood Glucometer, and the ARC-X Smart Ring. And the winner is the Omron Vital Sight. The Vital Sight is a blood pressure monitor that can automatically send crucial data about your heart health to your doctor or your healthcare practitioner. Engadget Features editor Chris Ip found it especially valuable, saying Omron is well positioned to make an impact at a time when everyone's physical health feels especially vulnerable.
Next up, we have the Best Wearable. And this one's self-explanatory. It's the best gadget at the show that can be worn on your person. The nominees are Wearable Devices Limited's Mudra Band, TCL's Wearable Display, Erin A3, and Lenovo's Think Reality A3 Smart Glasses. And the winner is Wearable Devices Limited's Mudra Band. The Mudra Band makes the Apple Watch even smarter with gesture control, and it has the potential to make the smartwatch more accessible for people with disabilities.
Thanks for that, Sherlyn. And moving now to the Best Transportation Technology. And to be clear, this isn't just about cars. It includes all of the technology that helps us get from here to there, plus all of the tech that helps along the way. The nominees are the Mercedes-Benz Hyperscreen, the Volvo Penta Assisted Docking System, and Panasonic Automotive's AI-enhanced AR heads-up display. And the winner is the Mercedes-Benz Hyperscreen. The Hyperscreen is a 56-inch information display that stretches almost entirely from door to door. And in addition to just looking kind of amazing, the Hyperscreen also offers easy access to your controls, all while a built-in AI offers suggestions for functions you might need from one moment to the next.
Thanks for that, V. Next up, we have the best home theater product. And as its name suggests, this is all about home entertainment, and it includes everything from set-top boxes to streaming players to audio systems and even much more. The nominees are Sony 360 Reality Audio Speakers, Samsung C-Labs EasyCal, TCL Alto R1 Soundbar, and Samsung's HW-Q950A Q Series Soundbar. And the winner is Sony 360 Reality Audio Speakers. These are Wi-Fi connected wireless speakers supporting Sony's new immersive audio format. And as Engadget's senior editor and audio expert says, part of a clear plan for bringing its 360 Reality Audio platform to the masses.
Thanks, Sherlyn. Congratulations. And let's now move to the best connected home product. In this category, we considered everything that belongs in the connected home, be it smart appliances, robot vacuums, smart speakers, and basically everything in between. The nominees are the Samsung JetBot 90 AI Plus, the TP-Link Deco Voice X20, the LG InstaView refrigerator with voice recognition, and Sony 360 Reality Audio Speakers. And the winner is Samsung JetBot 90 AI Plus. Robot vacuum cleaners have been cleaning up after us for years, but the JetBot's mix of LiDAR and 3D sensors, cameras, and AI smarts means it's just as good at knowing what to clean up as it is at knowing what to avoid.
Thanks for that, and congratulations, Samsung. Next up, we have the best phone or mobile device. This category is for the smartphone or related mobile device that most impresses with its combination of specs, design, and overall ability. The nominees are LG Rollable, Lenovo NEC LaVie Mini, TCL Nextpaper, and TCL 20 5G. And the winner is the LG Rollable. Of all the rollable phone concepts we've seen, this is at least actually going to be released this year, and it could usher in more interest in the rollable category the way early foldable phone concepts inspired what we see today.
Thanks, Sherlyn. Congrats to LG. And moving now to the best TV product. And let's just unpack this a little bit. Sometimes the best TV product is the television that offers the best combination of display and design and overall quality. But we also consider underlying technologies that have the potential to revolutionize how you experience those screens. The nominees are LG C1 OLED TVs, the TCL 6 Series 8K, Samsung's Neo QLED TVs, and the Sony Cognitive Processor XR. And the winner is LG C1 OLED TVs. As our senior editor, Devendra Hardawar, points out, these new OLED screens continue to live up to LG's lofty standards, and they benefit from an upgraded image processor for great visuals, not to mention virtual 5.1 surround sound through its built-in speakers.
Congratulations, LG. Next up, we have the best gaming product. With this category, we recognize the product that best advances the very broad field of gaming. Examples include game-specific tablets and PCs, video game consoles, controllers, and gaming services. And the nominees are Intel Tiger Lake H-Series laptop chips, Razer Blade 15 with NVIDIA RTX 30 series graphics, AMD Ryzen 5000 laptop chips, and the Asus ROG Flow X13. And the winner is AMD's Ryzen 5000 mobile CPUs. This year, AMD followed up its class-leading 5000 series desktop chips with an updated line for laptops, which it says will be available in over 150 systems this year. As our executive editor, Aaron Seporis, put it, the 5000 series is a meaningful leap forward and will only increase competition and innovation in the space.
Congratulations, and let's move now to the most unexpected product at CES 2021. Here we turn our attention to the products that grabbed our attention because who would have ever thought they'd see these things at CES? The nominees are the Volvo Penta Assisted Docking System, the Samsung Solar Cell Remote, the Targus 2-Office Antimicrobial Backpack, and the Kohler Stillness Bath. And the winner is the Kohler Stillness Bath. It is inspired by, and I'm not kidding, it's inspired by Japanese forest bathing, and its blend of full spectrum mood lighting and a built-in fog generator easily make this bathtub the most relaxing winner so far.
It certainly feels like the most relaxing winner. Congratulations, Kohler. Moving on now to something less relaxing, best sports tech. This product could literally change the game. The items on this list will be found on the court, the field, the track, at the gym, or even, more appropriately this year, at home. And the nominees are Samsung Health Smart Trainer and Wondersize Live Motion Machine System. And the winner is Samsung Health Smart Trainer. Now, Samsung's Smart Trainer system stands out from other existing analyzing and rep counting fitness tech for its ease of use and potential to reach a huge audience. As we look toward a future where exercising at home will likely be part of our new normal, a simple way to keep users accountable by measuring reps and form feels timely and compelling.
Thanks for that. Congratulations. And we now turn our attention to the best PC or tablet. And really, the name kind of says it all. This is the best laptop, desktop, or tablet at the show, which we judge based not just on design and performance, but the way they can elevate the computing experience. The nominees are the HP Elite Dragonfly Max, Lenovo's ThinkPad X1 Titanium Yoga, the Asus ZenBook Duo, and TCL's Next Paper Tablet. And the winner is Asus ZenBook Duo. And we'll be frank, this is the best dual-screen laptop we've seen to date. Its blend of a brighter, more flexible second display and better software to take advantage of it may well change what we expect from our PCs in the years to come.
Congratulations, and moving on now to a pretty straightforward category as well, the best robot or drone, which, like I said, don't think really needs much of an explanation here. These are machines that move. Yeah. And the nominees are the Sony AirPeak AI drones, Vanguard Industries Mothland, and Samsung's Bot Handy. And the winner is Sony's AirPeak AI drones. This is a quadcopter that's strong enough to carry one of the company's alpha mirrorless cameras, and is even, according to Sony, the smallest craft to be able to do so. It's also exciting to see a household name enter the drone game, especially one with deep ties to the film industry. So congratulations, Sony.
Thanks, Sherlyn. Congratulations, Sony. And let's now move to the best sustainability product. This is for the device or service or technology with the greatest potential to prevent, mitigate, or reverse damage to the environment. The nominees are Samsung Upcycling at Home, the Samsung Solar Cell Remote Control, Living Packets The Box, and the Lasso. And the winner is the Samsung Solar Cell Remote Control. Now, solar-powered remotes aren't really anything new, but Samsung's commitment to shipping these with its 2021 TVs put this finalist over the top. Over the next 7 years, it's estimated that widespread use of this solar cell remote could help prevent 99 million AAA batteries from winding up in landfills.
Well, congratulations, Samsung, on that. Finally, we are arriving at our two last awards categories for the night. And first up, we have the People's Choice Award. This is a product from the entire pool of finalists that we just went through with you. And that through their votes, our readers and audience decided was their favorite. Voting opened on Tuesday and just closed earlier today. The nominees are everything we've mentioned so far. And the winner is the Razer Blade 15 with NVIDIA RTX 30 graphics. We're not surprised, given Razer's massive fan base, that this gaming laptop took the popular vote. The Blade series has long been among the best laptops you can buy, and this year the company made significant upgrades to the Blade 15 with a 1440p display and fast 240Hz refresh rates that should make a noticeable difference the next time you play a game.
Thanks, Sherlyn, and congratulations, Razer. Finally, we now turn our attention to our top honors, the best of CES 2021. This is the product, service, or technology in any of the categories we've already discussed that stands above the rest based on its innovation, design, and overall usefulness. We decide the best of the best by having our entire editorial staff vote on their favorite from the winners in all of those other categories. So, with all of that said, the winner of the best at CES 2021 is AMD's Ryzen 5000 mobile CPUs. Look, in a show full of flashy TVs and emotional support robots and AI-connected everythings, picking a laptop chipset might seem a little odd, but we like the Ryzen 5000 series for the potential it has to make laptops more powerful than we're used to. AMD isn't alone in announcing new CPUs for laptops, but it's now in an even better position to take on the likes of Intel and Apple. And when huge companies like them knuckle down to compete with each other, we're usually the ones that win. Congratulations, AMD, and congratulations once again to all of our finalists and winners. Your work is not going unnoticed, and we cannot wait to see what you do next. With all of that said, that is a wrap. Not just for our Best of CES awards, but for Engadget's live continuing coverage of CES 2021. On behalf of Sherlyn and myself, we'd like to offer our profound thanks to our editorial team for producing some of the best CES coverage you will find out there, and to our video and streaming teams for helping us help you understand the show a little better. And finally, of course, we'd like to thank all of you at home watching. We hope you gained something from hanging out with us for the last 3 days, and we'll see you again next year at CES 2022.
Bye.
And we have come to the end of our day here at CES 2021, and what a journey it has been. Seeing that Best of CES roundup shows just how much we've seen throughout the event.
Oh yeah, and as Brian mentioned, we just saw the Best of CES awards from our friends at Engadget. Exciting to see these products getting some incredible recognition. But yeah, let's take a look. Now we also know that Best Buy, Best of Best, who was the winner?
Well, that would be Best of Best AMD's Ryzen 5000 series for the mobile laptops.
That's right.
And then, just in case you guys didn't see that, the People's Choice Award winner, the Razer Blade 15.
I cannot believe it. What a great win. What a great win. It makes total sense.
And you've got a lot of gaming, kind of, nods to gaming and the laptop space. So that's a big theme that clearly we're going to see here in 2021.
I think we didn't even emphasize it enough. It's definitely a huge theme this year.
So, Naomi, what was this CES like for you? It was totally different, but maybe what were some of your highlights?
I think meeting everyone here, meeting you for the first time.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, that's true. It's the first time we met.
Honestly, the whole vibe on our set this entire week, starting from rehearsals to now, I've had such an amazing time. And what a day, of course. It is my birthday, so I'm very happy to be celebrating it all here with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian, as someone who has been to so many CESs in the past before, over the years, what were some of your big impressions? What were your takeaways?
Well, okay, obviously I love the people and the crew here, but if we want to talk about CES tech takeaways, TVs are always bigger and badder. We just saw the Best of CES showcase really that the audience has continued to evolve towards gaming and mobile gaming, right?
Yes.
So with the power of these processors and graphics cards now moving towards ultra slim and slim laptop form factors, 13-inch type true powerhouse gaming PCs, that's something that we're going to pay attention to. I know that's what you want.
13-inch laptop. But yeah, huge push towards gaming. We're going to see a lot more of that in the future. We've been monitoring your tweets all event long, and now it's time for that final check-in.
Oh, here we go.
Quick check at Twitter Twitter feed right now. Let's take a look at what we got. Here, Korea. Let's see what Ale Science. Did we already talk about this one?
I did talk about the hair.
We already did.
I did talk about the hair guy, which is okay because that's
here's
important.
a good one. Great panel, so far exciting CES this year. Hopefully we can be all in person next year, but kudos to CES team for pulling off an amazing virtual event. Why, thank you, Adam.
I mean, this has been a unique thing, you know. There's really been nothing like this done, so to kind of put it all together and have some fun here, I mean, you know, it's been fun.
It's been a really fun
I've been loving being here.
It's been really fun. And I'm trying to see here what else you guys have been tweeting. Remember, guys, hashtag CES 2021. There's still a lot of content going throughout the day.
I got one for you, Naomi.
Yeah, go ahead.
AJ Fry, I'm attending my first ever CES event, the MSI Gaming MSIology event. They're showing off some sweet looking new laptops.
Oh man.
And again, gaming. I didn't click on that because we've been talking about gaming, but again, this is a big thing here at 2021.
Yeah, no surprise there. Gaming's taking over the world. Mobile gaming is huge, as we already mentioned. All right, let me see what else we got going on here. There's my tweet from earlier. Plain, simple, and sustainable. Our new TV boxes feature eco-friendly materials, fewer stickers, and minimal ink. So you know what? A big push towards anything that's environmentally friendly, helping the environment in any sort of way. So a lot of tech around that this year. This is from Samsung USA.
One thing about this is part of Samsung's upcycling kind of initiative. Yeah. So what they've done is they've shown off how, if you look at those boxes, some of them will have these like kind of grid dots, and you can actually use them to make like furniture, bookshelves, like take the box from your TVs in 2021, reuse them, make them like into like toy models and things like a bear and stuff like that. So they're really trying to embrace this thing like, look, TV boxes are huge.
Yes.
We've got to be able to do something with it. So I love that initiative from them.
Reducing the amount of packaging and reusing it if possible. So I think that's really important. Good. Kudos to Samsung for that.
All right, everybody. This year's show was full of thought-provoking insights and huge announcements from big thinkers in tech. We'd love for you to take a look.
CES 2021 featured more than 100 hours of conference programming with sessions from global industry leaders, tech innovators, and policymakers.
In this time of uncertainty, technology has been a stabilizing, unifying force, keeping us connected to our schools, our jobs, our doctors, our families, and our friends.
From self-driving cars to the latest in artificial intelligence, 5G connectivity to digital health and therapeutics, CES is the epicenter of global innovation and creativity.
Literally overnight, technology became a lifeline.
We leapfrogged 5 to 7 years in the digital revolution. This mass shift sped up the timeline for work from home, distant learning, and telemedicine. We knew it was coming, but it was closer than we realized. Now, instead of being our future, it's our present.
We set 3 principles right at the beginning of the pandemic, and it was to keep employees and customers safe. It was to protect the employee experience as much as we could for as long as possible. And it was to come out of this not just a vital company, but a vibrant one.
With so many of us working and learning from home in 2020, the performance and capabilities of our home PC actually defined how we worked and how we learned and much of our social interaction.
2020 had a massive impact on the way people live, work, and play, but very few industries have been impacted as profoundly as entertainment.
How have you used technology lately?
Trying to think outside the box and trying to think of ways to still get people all together, even when we're so far away.
I think the next big click forward is the world of Internet of Things and micropayments, fractional payments flying all over the world.
One of the more interesting things to think about, in my view, is not any single technology that's changing the world, but it's how they all come together and making those choices about where we invest and where we don't.
And oftentimes, I think what you find in very homogenous corporate cultures is that people are kind of finishing each other's sentences. And that, to me, is the worst thing possible. Like, if you have a team that's only finishing your sentence and not shaking it up and not being provocative, you're not going to grow. You're going to be beaten by the competition.
The health crisis, racial injustice, and climate change persist, and so we must persist. At General Motors, our vision for the future is a world with zero crashes, zero emissions, and zero congestion. The key to unlock that vision is electrification.
Technology has no conscience, but people do. And we do. And as an industry, we must exercise our conscience. That is our responsibility, to ensure that the technology that we create serves the world.
Follow along with the latest in tech innovation at ces.tech.
All right, to help bring our last day at the CES Anchor Desk to a close, we have Consumer Technology Association President and CEO Gary Shapiro joining us.
Gary, what's going on, man?
Oh, it is an exciting time for us. It's been remarkable. What an amazing show in so many different ways. And thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us, honestly. You know, you decided that CES would be all digital this summer. We announced Microsoft as your technology partner, this fall, and launched all the digital CES stuff this week. So could you maybe tell us about the top 1 or 2 things that you wanted to accomplish?
Well, we saw this as a unique opportunity to totally reinvent CES. It was something that we saw as a one-time only experience. And we wanted to say, what's the best thing that's about CES? Well, people want to connect. They want to learn. They want to be educated. They want great content. And they want to be able to network. Now, we can't recreate the excitement of Las Vegas and the food and the shows, but what we can do is get the products out there and bring the industry together and promote the fact that innovation is doing so many great things for mankind, and we got to keep pushing innovation forward, because that's what gets me and our team up every day, is improving the human condition through innovation.
Yeah, and during CES Las Vegas, you were just saying you're a huge part of that. And I guess this year we had to do something a little different. What really caught your eye about this year's show?
What caught my eye is the optimism about the future. I mean, it's been such a heck of a year this past year, and this pandemic has had a silver lining. It's pushed the digital transformation so quickly. Every company is doing something different. They made so many different decisions, and we could see it in the product mix at CES. We see amazing solutions to the most fundamental problems of mankind, whether it's transportation or healthcare or mobility, you name it. Artificial intelligence, 5G, they're all making a difference. And what COVID has done is changed the pace and the arc of technology.
Mm-hmm.
So Gary, you talk about that change. So obviously the next question is, what's next for CES 2022? Are we talking about digital? Are we talking in person? Both? I mean, where we are with that?
Well, there's great things happening. We'll start looking forward to 2022, but I'll tell you, Las Vegas is ready for us. They have a brand new building. They have Elon Musk has created what's called the Boring Tunnel.
That's
Not
right.
aptly named, because it's a new way of transportation, and they're looking at another one. The beauty of Las Vegas is it has 3 of the 10 largest convention centers. It has more hotel rooms than any city in the Americas, and of course, it's Las Vegas. Entertainment, great food, fun, amazing airport. What we're planning for next year, though, is we will have the physical event, and indeed, hundreds of exhibitors are already signed up for it, but it will be a hybrid event. We're going to look at what we did, what worked, what didn't, and we're going to create a hybrid event. It'll be both digital and physical. And we're not there yet. We don't know whether it will be hugs and handshakes or whether we're wearing masks. It'll be definitely sanitary and different. All events are changing around the world. And as we get out and see the end of the light of this very difficult time we're in, it's an opportunity to recreate, reinvent our events, because that's what we're doing. And we have found just this experience these last several months of new ways to connect people, to get them together that we never thought of before, which is really valuable. But the other thing is, we know that we're human beings and we need each other. We need that 5-sense experience of a trade show. We need to touch and feel and get the whole gestalt of what it means to be a company, what it means to be a product, and the relationships are so important. Everyone on earth, I think, has felt more human and that we're lacking something now. Just seeing you guys together here on stage, socially distanced, makes me feel great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, before we begin wrapping up the show, do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share?
Absolutely. We were so thrilled that we went on this journey. We looked at every off-the-shelf software, and we decided that, you know what, we have to recreate something that doesn't just replicate an exhibit floor and use avatars. We wanted something different that focused on connectivity and personalization. So we partnered with Microsoft, who had its own great events, the great cloud, Microsoft team, cybersecurity expertise, and production expertise. And what a partnership it's been. Microsoft has been on this journey with us, and judging from what we're hearing from people, this is different than anything that's ever been done before in the trade show world. So thank you, Microsoft, and of course, thanks to the community for supporting us and where we are, whether the exhibitors, the journalists, the investors, everyone. And most of all, though, I got to thank our amazing hosts.
Oh,
and,
who's that?
Who, me?
We call you anchors, but you have been fantastic.
Thank you.
So,
thanks, Gary. Appreciate it.
Anchors away.
Yeah.
Anchors away!
Oh, man. Always great to catch up with you, Gary. Thank you so much for being a part of the show and for putting it on another year for CES. Thanks for joining us. You guys watching CES 2021 was set on the backdrop of our digital venue featuring a brand new exhibitor experience. In case you haven't had a chance to check out the exhibitor showcase, take a look at what is in store for you. Enjoy.
The all-digital CES 2021 pushed top companies from around the world to show off their cutting-edge technologies in a new way. Let's check out the CES Exhibitor Showcase.
All right, we could go on and on about all the game-changing products and innovation to see, but there's a huge part of this all-digital show that y'all haven't seen. This production was just an absolutely incredible undertaking that involves so many talented people working together to create something just great in the midst of a pandemic.
Yeah, here are some behind-the-scenes shots to show just how much it took to put on this global event for you guys this entire week. We got to look here behind the scenes at our control room.
This is amazing because, look, sure, you see all this stuff out here in front, but back there, that's where all the magic happens.
Right.
You know, you see all the different cameras, production.
I see Justine back there. But yeah, and then there's people, of course, keeping tabs behind the scenes as well. I hear people at their desks, making sure that the control room, everything's in order for the show to go live.
I mean, we saw the back room. There's Gary talking with Mark Cuban, and we see Teresa, Tan, and David there. This is just kind of, look at, this is to give you an idea of how massive this wall is, right?
It is massive.
Massive wall. We've got some fun, like, light effects, just a way to give you guys and gals at home a grasp of this is all happening in this room. This is pretty much CES right here.
This is all of it. And the screen, like you said, is massive. It's hard to fit it in a photo. But yeah, we've done screen interviews. We've done a lot of one-on-ones, sometimes 2 interviewees at a time like we just did recently. And yeah, look at all the tech that we have behind here, of course. These are people watching our show from their office space.
CTA headquarters back over there.
Yeah, okay, so there you go.
We got hair makeup, Justine and Rich obviously doing an amazing job.
In the morning, very early in the morning. They had to get up at like 2 a.m. or something.
2 or something like that. So thank you everybody and your families for all the hard work. This is why this show is what it is. Now, we might be saying goodbye from the anchor desk or in front of it, but don't forget, we have keynotes playing overnight starting in about, 40 minutes? And a lot more content. And remember to check out our fantastic partners and our extended programming tomorrow, including Automotive News, Shift Mobility Forum, Connection Summit, Converge X, Digital Hollywood, and Dreamland XR.
Yes, and we've also got partner programming from IoT Infrastructure Conference, Sports Innovation Labs, SAE, Connect 2Car, Digital Summit, Variety, and the CTA Foundation. Find all of these partners at ces.tech/partner day. And with that, we are signing off for the cast and the crew, as well as the Consumer Technology Association team.
Cast and crew, baby.
We'd
Round
like
of
to
applause.
thank you all so much from around the world for joining us here on the stream and the CES digital venue. We couldn't have done it without you, so thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the show.
So, what was maybe your favorite time here at the anchor desk? You know, we got to celebrate CES here.
I think when you did this in front of the camera with the
this
two
one?
binoculars.
This one? Okay.
That was the best part.
All right. Remember, this site and the on-demand content will be available through February the 15th. So until we see you next year, back in Las Vegas, January 5th through 8th at CES 2022. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody.
Thanks a lot, guys.
See you.
Bye.